Hey everybody, hey Stitchy friends, Flosstube friends, I was going to say StitchCon friends. I have my StitchCon top on, one of them. It's Lana with Silly Notion Stitcher and here for another Flosstube. This one's exciting to dabble a little bit with Sampler September and some of my plans for carrying on with a sampler that's from my local area and some other things. So I'm going to show you, I have been on an FFO streak trying to wrap up some of these things. A few of them might be getting entered into some local fairs in the next few weeks. So I am in southeastern Pennsylvania. I'm in Berks County, and right next to me is Lancaster County, and so that makes me eligible to enter in 3 fairs that aren't too far away from me. The Denver Fair will be first, then we have the Ephrata Fair, and then we have the New Holland Fair. And if you've visited the Lancaster area, New Holland is closest to the touristy area. So that will be the grand finale, and that's probably a little bit more higher competition in the quilting and stitching arenas. I'd say Ephrata probably has more people entering in those categories too. So I've never done this as an adult. I only entered the fair when I was a kid, where I grew up in the Ole area, and I'm going to be talking about that a little bit later. So I'm very excited, and I've been seeing some other stitchers out there entering fairs and having some really neat success and very well deserved ribbons being won, so that's really cool. I am sitting on a quilt that I did finally finish. Well, the binding is still being attached. It's partially attached. Here is the partially part. And this is the back. So I started this during the pandemic, and when we were all in lockdown, and it is a quilt as you go. These blocks are just wide strips that got sewn down onto square pieces of batting, and then when you sew all your rows together, you put the backing down, and you just really are sewing the backing to the front part. You know, normally you'd have a whole huge quilt top, then your batting in the middle, and then a whole huge backing, and have to quilt the whole thing all at once. With Quilt As You Go, you quilt each block before you put the batting on, and it just makes it a lot easier than wrangling a gigantic quilt. I quilt all my things myself on my domestic sewing machine, and so I've liked doing. I think this is my 3rd Quilt As You Go quilt. So anyway, I am downstairs today. I'm not in my normal spot. It is super hot right now. It is Labor Day, so ready to show you some of my recent FFOs. So I'm going to start with the Sampler September topic, and I did just finish my August Sampler calendar of the month. This is Country Cottage Needleworks and their series. In one of my prior Flosstubes recently, I showed that the blue sections I had done with different colored threads, and I didn't match them up well, and they were kind of a hot mess. So I did decide to rip them out, and I put in more of this vibrant blue. That's not the called for blue. It's really tealy is the called for, but I'm pretty much going to end it here. There are sections on the bottom and the top, like sort of like a leaf border, but it's time to really get on with this series and finish some other months. So I'm not doing quite all the detail. I did, however, do all the detail on this. I have September is finished. So I'm actually going into a month where it's finished. So September has some books and apples, some flowers and leaves, a nice sort of schoolhouse. I did not quite get the windows right. And I didn't put the little panes in, but that is fine. There's some cute apple trees there. This was probably done, I believe, on celadon or celery. I always say that. Ada, 14 count Ada. Found that ribbon at Hobby Lobby, and it just struck me as being appropriate for this. And then I had this cute cursive fabric that I had to go with. So what I do with these is put them, you see the magnet here, or this is the washer. I have a chalkboard type self-standing easel. I don't have it near me right now. And I just put each one of these on a magnet and leave them in the kitchen. So this one's all ready. I am thinking about entering this in the Denver Fair just to kind of do something different, because it's, you know, many of these needlework categories are still very traditional with, you know, framed stitching, and I haven't framed any of my things yet. I don't think anything, well, maybe one or two things are in a frame, little things. I mostly do smalls, so I guess I would take in the whole easel and show it that way. So that is September. I also finished April. So I'm way ahead for next April. Now down here there would have been more leaves or some sort of border, but I kept that off. Have a little bird clothespin clip just on there. Love the gingham plaid fabric. I found that at a rummage sale for like $1. It was a fat quarter. And then I had this yellow felt wool to do the back. And I found this cute Easter fabric. I'm now seeing how it was pressed, but I think it's the glue line sort of is enhancing that indentation here, but you don't really see it in person. So that's going to be attached somehow, either up here or down here. So, and I'm drinking something again that's irritating my mouth, so I apologize for that. It's like, yeah, let me slather on my, you know, hot pink lipstick or something like that. And I will jump into, this is a finish, not quite FFO'd yet. This is Happy Camper by Flamingo Toes, I believe. That's what it's called, Flamingo Toes. And she does very cute like needle minders and charms for your bags. So I'm very excited about this being finished, and I really loved how the back stitching came out on the pennant banner. There's a lot of French knots that this calls for, and so I tried them several times and just didn't do the traditional French knot, but I did my own sort of little knot action and got them somewhat consistent. The white ones are the ones that, you know, kind of really show up. Oh, the pink ones too. I think by the time I worked on these pink little rosebuds or whatever, I had more of a rhythm down, and so I'm happy with that. I am trying to decide what I'm going to do with this exactly. I'm sort of picturing like a basket tie around type of thing. Yeah, so I'm still looking at ideas and deciding what I want to do with that one. I also have several self-standing clip frames that you can just, you know, if I mounted this on a board, I can clip it to a self-standing frame. So it's really, really great to have a bunch of finishes now. And this is something I talked about the last time, that I had a few of my Glitter Village houses finished, and I did go ahead and get them FFO'd. They came out a little bit differently than what I sort of pictured in my mind, and yet it's what I was aiming for. So here is a frame that I got at Marshall's. I think it was only $7. It is plastic. I would have wanted wood, but it's very lightweight, and so I do like that it'll be no big deal to hang on a wall and not need, you know, heavy duty frame hangers and stuff. So these are, you know, clips like these. I did find these foam glittery snowflakes to cover them up. Sort of still feeling that out. The rouging I did with pins. I did look at Vanna Pfeiffer's tutorial, and this ribbon is very stiff because I wanted something very sparkly, and I couldn't do it quite the way she does her one style. So I don't love that the edging is facing you. I would have wanted a little bit more that the ribbon is facing out, and so I might still tack some of these down strategically so that they're a little bit more forward facing. So there's the church. I do stitch in hand, and I did start this when I was very new to stitching, and so I look at that roof now and I'm like, yeah, I can see where my tension is a little different here and there. The other thing too, a lot of lessons learned, is I think it's this edge is basically ends right at the very end. So I was trying to squeeze out as much as I could from the fabric. It's sort of like a mint green, iridescent, opalescent fabric. This building really reminds me of a church, I think it is, or a school in Bermuda. The color it's supposed to be is like a brilliant aqua or whatever, and that's what the building looks like in Bermuda. But the color was just too close to this, or I mean, I could have probably changed it to more of a really tealy type of thing, but I changed it to this purple, so I was happy with that. So it's very exciting. And then on the back, I found in my travels, I was in Maryland, I think this was last summer already, and just happened to find this paisley pink with like a shimmer to it, and I'm like, oh, that's gonna go with my Glitter Village. I would have liked even more glitteriness. It's kind of faint, but it's the back. So I kind of was like, okay, you bought the fabric, that's what you're going to use. So yeah, so it's very exciting to have 3 of them done. I am still working on a few others. So all right, so we are moving right along. In the sampler arena, I am working on a real sampler, so I'm probably losing the viewers that are true sampler stitchers, but I am still working on the November. It's so cute. And October. I would really like to get this one done because it's so adorable with an autumn theme, but sadly that's all the farther I am. But I do really like this fabric. I think this is fawn. Wren. It is Picture This Plus Ada Wren. The lighting is not really doing it justice, but you can kind of see the modeling there. So I'm going to jump into the sampler topic because what I am hoping to do is have a weekly sampler history topic of samplers that are from my area of, like I said, Berks County, which is right up against Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. And I had talked about this before, that I continue to try to do some of the research on samplers that they have found in our area, and try to correlate that, overlay it with my own family history. They are probably not direct descendants, having trouble with that aspect, but I am diving a little bit deeper to find out things like, did they attend the same church? Would they have been on the same ships? Would families have, you know, intertwined in some way? And there's a little bit of that coming alive because you have the sampler maker was like the daughter of so-and-so, and that might be running in my tree. So it takes just so much time, and I do work full time, so I'm off for the rest of this week. It's Labor Day, and so I have the whole week ahead of me. Like, oh, it's already Labor Day. I, you know, worked Friday and did a lot of this finishing that I wanted to accomplish, and so that's behind me, which feels good. Of course, I had like a whole project bag topple behind me. So what I had hoped to do today is show you the sampler that I am working on, and I'm going to focus a bit more on this in September. The other thing that's happening for me in September is that I celebrate, it will be my 3rd year of being in the cross stitch community and being a stitcher. I started in 2020. I was a quilter doing sewing. I make bags, and my quilt teacher was having a cross stitch class because she was trying to tell those of us that were, you know, coming to her quilting classes, you know, like, oh, cross stitch is a thing now again. And I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. And that's when the first time I heard the word Flosstube, and I'm like, well, what's that? And I didn't even really know, I didn't know about embroidery floss. I mean, I knew what it was, but I called it thread. So anyway, I'm celebrating that this month, so I will probably do something special for that. That's later in September. And what was the third thing? Oh, it's Sunflower September. I do have my sunflower chart I did want to bring out again and just give a hug out to Ukraine, because the pattern does come from a Ukrainian designer, and she's been doing super, super well with those of us supporting to purchase her charts on Etsy. She's actually having a lot of sales to try to continue to make income for her family and survive during this horrible time. And one of her designs was just featured in one of the cross stitch magazines. I don't know if it's, is it just cross stitch? Oh my gosh. So lots to still talk about in this episode. All right, so I will jump ahead and show you the sampler that I have been working on. I'm pretty sure this one's called Elizabeth Bechtel. And this is a chart reproduction done by the Essemplaire company, and they're out of Canada. And they have an older style website, but what's really cool is you can search their website a few different ways. If you're interested in certain types of samplers, you can go on their site and search Dutch samplers and samplers from Mexico and different things that they have worked on. So this sampler, I have been able to see it is, or did I don't know if I was able to see this exact sampler, but it is at the Schwenkfelder Research Center and Library, which is a little bit south of Allentown, Pennsylvania, to give you a landmark, and probably like an hour and a half north of Philadelphia. There were samplers like this that are really Pennsylvania German samplers, and that's the angle that I'm interested in. And Pennsylvania German, Pennsylvania Dutch is not just Amish and Mennonite people. There were actually way more Lutherans that came from the area of Germany that constitute what is the Pennsylvania Dutch heritage. And I am a part of that. My family was heavily Lutheran, and but my mom tells me that we have somebody was Moravian, and so Moravian is part of that heritage too. So anyway, this has a very like fall and winter look to it. I don't, it's not really my colors. I don't love the colors. I would almost love to do this in a one color, but the Pennsylvania Dutch and Pennsylvania German style is always done with these reds and blacks and golds. And what saves this for me is that it doesn't really show up here, but there are some really cool aquas in it. So I was very thankful when I got the picture, you know, doesn't really help too much, but this color saves me. It's very much of a peacock type blue, and so I am using Sweata, which is the called for. Here's another like really cool blue green, and even the greens are interesting. This is that green? Yeah, that's very deep green. It's, you know, wants to focus on me and not the thread. The red is awesome. So I need to keep working on this more, because I do see how when I see like Carol the Saltbox Stitcher or these other Brenda and Laura, and they just seem to crank out these samplers, and I'm like, they're gigantic. How do they get them done? Well, you know, they're little motifs, and then there's some space around there. I'm working on all these smalls that are very densely stitched, so I feel like, oh my gosh, it's taking me forever, but I also have a lot of things kitted up. So here is what I have so far. And when I work on it, it goes pretty fast. I'm pretty sure this is, I think this is Homecoming. Picture This Plus Homecoming, or it's Fawn. And they just worked so well for me. I think I found this at Stitch by Stitch, I think is the name of the shop, in Cape May, and I am going there the next few days. So I should not really be spending too much there, because I'm also going to Stitch New England in the middle of October, and then going to Sweata Weatha. That Stitch retreat is the end of October. So I will be in Philadelphia for that. So that is very exciting. And I'm having a total colonial Philadelphia experience. I decided to stay at, I'm not really a big high-rise person, so I'm staying at, it's called the Thomas Bond House, and it's a colonial style, he was a statesman. So it just has a few bedrooms, and the parking garage is right next door, and it's very close to the center where the retreat will be held. So I'm excited about that. So again, I just wanted to point out, so this is Elizabeth Bechtel, and some of the research I'm also doing is, you see there S. Boone, Sarah Boone, and Sarah Boone was a teacher in the Ole Valley and would teach girls to stitch. And so these were primarily like, you know, farming areas. These were not, you know, like there's the Bristol story of, you know, the orphanage of, so this was really teaching useful skills, but they were not debutantes and the well-to-do. In Reading, which would have been 12 miles into a city area, and then also Philadelphia, there was much a definite influence of English stitching, and the types of samplers in those areas actually had a distinct look because of the teachers that were actually teaching methods and motifs that were more from the kingdom, you know, because this was, some of the samplers are definitely before the Revolution, before we declared independence. So it's really cool. What I intend to do, what troubles me in my research, and I am going by this book as well. And what I love is that there's a whole section on samplers of the Ole Valley, which is where I went to school and grew up. And but what I have is like information from all these different sources. So what I want to try to do, and they're all different years. You have the 1700s, and then they go into the 1800s. I want to plot out on a map by years and locations and names, so that I bring it all together and can really put together this picture and determine and come to hopefully the answer of my mystery. Am I related to any of these actual samplers? So I will be telling you more about that crusade as the month goes on. And just to point out this a little bit more, here's a map of the state of Pennsylvania. I live in the blue area. Philadelphia is over here. Here's New Jersey, basically, I guess. And those two blue squares, and also that blackish type square, those are the areas where these samplers came from that I'm primarily studying. You also have the ones that are known from Lancaster, so I marked those as well. And what I hope to do is, this Y here is sort of like a tri-county borderline, and this border here, I think, I drew it in there as Schuylkill, as the Schuylkill River. And that was important for the Port of Philadelphia and, you know, people using waterways. So to get to Reading and for Reading to start building as another area of the colony was not a real big deal because of the river. You know, that's according to Lana Wolf's history books. But what I'm hoping to do is, I had this idea. I wanted to really do it on the computer, and I think at some point I will pursue that. But for now, I think I'm going to do old style. Think overhead projector, plastics, and I'm going to have a better map than this. But literally map out the years and where these people lived, where the sampler would have come from, so that I have a better, I'm a very visual person, and just have more of a picture of that. I was talking to, I'm a member of the local, it was the Historical Society, it's the Berks History Center, and I was talking to people there that I've gotten to know, and I'm like, you know, look, this is what I'd like to see. It's hard to put these things together because you come at a part of our history, you know, one section or one part of time than the other, and then you're always kind of like, oh wait, no, that wouldn't have happened because, you know, that didn't happen until 50 years later or whatever. So I'm trying to get them to hear what I'm trying to do and put together something more that's a computerized depiction of our local history, sort of like what Ancestry has done in a lot of ways. There's just a much bigger difference of funds there, you know. So anyway, I have this resource to go by. So samplers of Oley and Exeter, I will be going by that, and so more to come. I hope that I'm not losing you, but I did want to show a few other things. I do need to, I want to participate in the Smalls exchanges for the 2 retreats that are coming up. So this Thankful Berry is, this was an exclusive in a class that I took last summer. So I think I'm going to do this for each Smalls exchange. I don't really love the way these colors are coming across in this picture. I will do something a little bit different, but it's blessed and thankful is what it says, and then the leaves. I think I'll probably do the berries, but knowing that people are, you know, like the dough bowls, I might do that sort of thing, so we'll see. And then still on the lines of the sampler theme, I was able to purchase, this man was selling, his wife had passed away, and she had one of those accordion sewing boxes, the style that's from, like, it's the Nordic, the official Nordic brand. So he was selling that, another sewing box piece, self-standing type of thing, and then everything that was included inside. Well, I didn't really need or love the stuff that was inside, but she did have some patterns that I did hold on to. One of them is this Julia Ann Purinton from 1821. And I would like to do just a small sampler, and I like that this is a one color. When I was at StitchCon, I picked up a few silks that I would consider doing, you know, one color chart. So I'm just seeing where she is from. It just says Lynn Museum and Historical Society, and I know these people lived in Virginia, so I'm gonna have to look up that museum and see where this is from. But you know, museums and organizations are a great source for unique samplers that you might not have ever known about, because people do reproductions and then it makes money for the museum. So you know, you might have local samplers from your area that you're not aware of, if you want to, you know, check out like some museum shops. Just wanted to show this one as well. I've found at a thrift store. So this is Hannah Breed. This is a hanging sampler from Stacy Nash. You know what, maybe... Oh, I love how the colors are coming up on my camera, actually. I'm not sure where I found that. That was in a thrift store, because I recognized the tag. Hannah Breed. I don't have the information right here. This is a Pin Keep Walk the Old Path sampler. Also, oh, I was gonna say Stacy Nash, but no, it's so this is the Pin Keep Patterns, designed by Linda Thran. So I don't know if this is still around, but it's thepinkeep.blogspot.com. Okay. And then I wanted to show you a few others that are going to be part of the research that I'm going to show. And my research series, I don't want it to be just me yammering on. I was able to ask the Berks History Center to see several of their samplers in their archives. And so they pulled out samplers I wanted to look at up close, and I took a whole bunch of pictures, and so I really do want to put that in more of a program that I can share here on Flosstube. They have a really awesome sampler on display at the center that I wish somebody would do a reproduction of. It's Catherine Widener, I believe it is, and I kind of wish that's the one locally that I'd be working on, but I don't know that there's a reproduction. So I want to reach out to the Essemplaire company people and say, are you planning on doing a reproduction of this one, because it's really worthwhile. It's a definite, you know, like epitome of a Pennsylvania Dutch Berks County sampler in my mind. And there are some samplers that are actually for sale at a antiques dealer that is in Philadelphia. I think it's M. Finkel and Daughter dealer. People out there may know what I'm talking about. I would love to see these samplers come back to the Reading area, back to Berks County, but they're like $16,000 is the bid. And or the value, you know, that they're the minimum value that they're asking for. And so I won't be bidding on them, but there's like at least one that would be, you know, ideal. But so this is a new pattern that I just bought this summer. This is the Schwenkfelder Center that where the other sampler pattern I'm working on comes from. So I'm very eager to look into the connections with this person. But this last name of Kriebel is definitely a descendant, I believe, of the Schwenkfelder immigrant group that came over. They definitely fled persecution, religious persecution. And I don't really have any descendants in that group. So I'm excited to have this pattern. Mary Wiley, 1796. This one I purchased at the Berks History Center. I'm pretty sure I purchased it there. We have a really good local historian of samplers from this area, and I'm pretty sure she did the reproduction for it and did the history. That's a lot of words on this one, so I'm probably not apt to really do this one. The other thing that I'm really looking into as well is how the American Revolution affected or influenced any aspect of some of these samplers. Because just think of it, this one was done in a time where, now this little girl, if she, let's see, does it say how old she was? So she was probably not born, the revolution probably happened before she was born is what I'm trying to say. And so I'm just kind of like, again, trying to create this timeline and correlate some of these activities, especially because we have another American anniversary coming up in just 3 years, 2.5. So I think, and I'm hoping that we're going to see some really cool new patriotic samplers coming out, or charts coming out to celebrate that. So that is my topic around that. I do want to just show a few of my new project bags I've made. Now this one I think I showed before. Also this month, this was the third thing I was trying to spit out. I am also doing my sampler research now as a tie-in to continuing on with my Pennsylvania Dutch language classes. It's also culture classes. I do have this chart that I started a few months ago. I have not really kept up with it. You know, I'm not a lover of the bold colors that is the Pennsylvania German style, but it is part of my heritage and it is what it is. So I did purchase a fracture cross stitch pattern today, and I'll have that for a haul section in the future. I'm very tempted with that one to not do it in the traditional colors that it is, and do it as a one color. So I think I would just stick with it more and stay interested in it. I'm kind of jumping around. We're getting ready to go to the shore tomorrow, and so I'm throwing this in here and trying to get the trash out, get the cat ready, all that fun stuff. Here is a fall project bag I made. Very excited about that. I love this fabric. It's kind of funny how they make these all directional fabrics so that, you know, it works no matter what you're doing, but then you've got stuff that's up, you know, cups that are upside down and whatever. But I sort of made a boo-boo with when I was making this, but I made it work. So there are several fall things in here. This one I must finish this year. I started this like 2 years ago. It's such a small chart and I still don't have it finished. I don't really love the diamond pattern around the edges. I think I'm going to do something different. Like maybe just a gingham type of thing. And I will show you my Sunflower Girl. Oh, Miss Sunflower. I always call her Sunflower Girl. Miss Sunflower. This is the Ukrainian designer I was talking about. And this really became popular and she did it, people were stitching it, instead of the green, they were doing blue to support Ukraine. So that is a great color option as well. And I think she actually has a design that you can get in the blue. So I will just leave that there. I love her shoes. It is, you know, very stitch heavy, so I work on it at times, but it's not. Here are my flosses. I got this awesome, perfect floss bling ring at StitchCon from someone. And then I had made these cards when I got the project. I still have not cut up all of my threads, so I was hoping to do some more of that sort of thing while I was off this week, so we shall see. So I have one sunflower, not even fully finished. So, alright, so that's that, but I did want to show that I finished my first house or shop in my boardwalk series, and this bag turned out great. I love this bag. Let me see, let me take out, here's the swimming suits, and it's got that. And then I made like a separate floss bag for inside. Cute, cute. I also have my little shells, starfish, ort container, like extra threads that I'm, oh, this one's not in use yet. And then this one has crabs on the inside. Okay. So, without further ado, this is the first series that I am going to do on one piece. So, it's going to be pretty long, and I will have to frame it or get it framed. I am intending, it's supposed to say ice cream at the top there, but anyone out there knows Springer's in Stone Harbor, New Jersey? I have pretty much marked it out that I can make Springer's fit in that spot. So that's what I'm going to do. The next one I will be starting is the surf shop. And might be putting in a different name in there. So, very exciting. I might be taking this with me, although I need to keep working on my heart and hand seaside town, tiny town. Just love that, love these colors, and I did sort of put this to the side. I've been working on my ice cream bicycle by Sue Hillis Designs a lot. So that's all I have of that seaside town. But this is way more portable. So it would probably be better for me to take this one to the beach. Do I have my bicycle? Yes. So when I get to, I always want to call it Salty Stitches for some reason. It's Stitch by Stitch in Cape May. I will be looking for the latest Boardwalk series shop is out, and that is the bicycle shop, the bicycle rental shop. And I am starting a little list of charts that I'll be looking for, but I do need some floss. I definitely do not need fabric after all that I found at StitchCon, and might find at the other two retreats I'm going to. this has been very fun. I mentioned this before. This fabric is an even weave and is just very smooth and slick to stitch with. Let's see, where are we at? So yeah, the colors aren't quite coming out true here, but this needle, I kind of wish I knew what needle that is or was. I have a feeling it's a petite, and I really like it. I'm normally a Bowen needle person. This is a pretty wide open even weave. Like, I think it's a, it might even be a 25 count. That would be good to know. It might be in the bag. So, but that needle and this, the fabric together is working out really great. And this is all just, oh, it's actually a lot of anchor threads, and I am really liking the anchor threads. Someone in their Flosstube had mentioned like how good the coverage is, and I definitely agree with that. I feel like my stitches look really good in this, and the white covers really well. So I'll just show that again, because when you have good stitches, you know, let's show that for a really long time. Ah, yes. All right, well, I do need to get going. I have to finish packing my bags. I assured my mother, who's worried about getting the trash out and everything, oh, I'm only gonna take half an hour. It's been a little longer than that. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you stuck around, and I need to get myself a little bit more together with my sampler plans in terms of my historic series about some of the Pennsylvania German samplers that were done right here in southeastern PA. You know, I think there's just so many great aspects of historic samplers out there, and it's great to see how, I mean, it just seems like there's so much new energy of new reproductions that I'm curious if there was that much done before this period of time. But let's all keep on stitching, keep this business going and growing, and just wish you all happy stitching as we head into September. So thank you, and please like and subscribe. I hope you'll come back. Thanks. I'm Lana, Silly Notion Stitcher. Bye.